Hello, group. I'm like super annoyed right now because I just shot like 20 minutes worth of 4K video and apparently my phone crashed and I ended up losing it. So, anyway, I'm reshooting this now in 1080p 60. Anyway, um, yeah, this is just a video. It's a follow up video. This is just initial impressions only on this Olight that I mentioned last night in a post. Um, just got it yesterday. Just been playing around with it a little bit. Initial impressions so far very positive. I actually have a few extra guns out with a few extra budget lights to compare it against, and I'll just show you the differences in this light and some of these other lights I got real quick, and just go over what makes this one pretty cool. Um, but yeah, long story short, I got this one mainly because I just wanted this color, wanted to try something new. I heard some good things about Olight in the past, and been hearing good things about them, so I just said, I'll give them a shot. But yeah, this is the PL Pro Valkyrie. This is their, I guess, desert dirt, flat darker, sort of kind of color, I guess. But anyway, what makes this cool? It does come with a quick detach mount, QD capability right out the box, specifically how you actuate it. It has this locking lever right here. You can push it to open the locking latch. So if you want to mount it on something, you just basically push that locking lever and then oh gosh, I'm struggling. Anyway, you push it, locks on, and then you flip it around and lock your lever, and you're good to go after that. Weapon is clear, just in case anybody was curious. We're clear. But anyway, this is a pretty nice pistol light. It's a pretty nice light overall. It locks up very solid. There is no play, no wiggle in it whatsoever. As far as how to actuate it and how to make it work. It has two buttons on each side. It has multiple modes. So let's just say you want to light it up. Here we go. We got momentary on set right now. See, just using the button over here. As you can see, this is actually a very bright, very well-lit room I'm in right now. Solid white light, but this is just so you guys know, this is a 1500 max lumen light with 280 meters worth of throw. This is the box that it came in. Anyway, again, very bright, well-lit room. You fire this thing on, it is super bright. That hot spot, as you can see, it looks like the freaking sun. It is bright as hell. But yes, we have it set to momentary on mode right now. So if you want to change modes, you can just double click it. Then you have constant on, as you can see. You can click it off by doing so. We have it set to constant on. So there we go again. Double click it to turn it off. And you're back to momentary. Pretty cool, huh? Anyway, it's on both sides, as you can see. Yeah, I think this is actually I think it's a lower power mode. It's hard to tell, but it's not quite as bright as it was before, even though the hotspot is still super bright. Yeah, back on momentary. Okay. But yeah, nice little light. This is on my CZ P10 compact. This is an excellent carry gun, by the way. This is actually my everyday carry. Got the night sights. Pretty cool. But anyway, yeah, this is a pretty cool little light. Compares favorably to a lot of other little budget lights that I have, so we'll illustrate that a little more. Remove it, pushing it like so. I actually got this one directly from Olight, from their website, because I wanted the remote mount switch that goes with it, and I'll show you how that works. So I have this mounted on my little 6.5 Grendel build that I just did. It basically comes with this switch mount right here. Switch is already mounted inside it. It literally comes just like this. So you just put it on your rail, you're good to go. This is just a temporary setup I'm playing with, just because, I'm just testing some things out on this particular build here. So yeah, don't mind this. I'm just trying things out for now. Got the wire here. It actually comes with two little, God, I can't even think of what these are called. Zip ties. Yeah, it comes with two little zip ties. Just got the wire button down here. This is actually a charging magnetic charger right here. So the light comes with this magnetic charging dock. It's USB-A, in case anybody was curious. But kind of like your Apple Watches, it just kind of snaps on here, and then you just plug it up to any compatible USB port, and that's how you charge it. This particular model has no removable batteries, which, you know, that could be a pro, could be a con, depending on who you ask. But again, we just wanted to try things out here. I know the battery cells in these things typically last for years, depending on how you use it, of course. So I would expect to get probably at least 5 years, hopefully longer, of usage out of this before the battery starts to degrade. But anyway, your magnetic dock charges the light like so once plugged in. And with this magnetic tape switch mount that we have here, which is a pretty neat little contraption, let's just say we want to mount the light to our rifle. Once we have it, we lock it into place. Very solid. It's not going anywhere. Accidentally turn it on. Okay, let's put it back on momentary. There we go. All right, so this mounts on like so. And this thing is actually pretty sturdy. I probably wouldn't consider it bomb-proof, so I don't know if I would go fight in the streets of Fallujah or the mountains of Afghanistan with this thing. But for hunting, home defense, ought to work perfectly fine. And let me just show you why I say that. So I have no fingernails, by the way, so I'm just going to try to lift this off. It does not come off easily. Like, you got to really try to pry this thing off, and even then it just snaps right back on the place. You cannot push it off because it has like a little raised area around it that kind of locks it in place. So basically the only way this thing will come off is if you lift it straight up off it. You really have to get up under it and pry it off. Even then, again, it snaps right back on the place. So you cannot push this thing off. I'm pushing pretty hard, and you can't get it off. Anyway, there we go. Yeah, you can't get it off. So only way you can get this thing off is really just by lifting straight off. It'll come off fairly easily then, but you still have to apply a good amount of pressure to do so. In any case, this ought to be a pretty decent little setup for home defense or for hunting. Again, I don't know if I'd go fight a war with this thing. But for most basic civilian usage, it should work pretty decently for that. This is just a temporary little angled foregrip. This is a Strike Industries, in case anybody cared. Ooh, thunder. I'm actually waiting on a Samson little mini vertical grip to come in. It should be in a few days. I'll probably do a little video on that. But this is a decent little setup. The switch provides momentary on and off. Momentary on and off. What's up? There we go. There we go. Momentary on and off. See, it's probably why I wouldn't go fight a war with it, but, you know, for what it was intended to do, it works pretty well. Anyway, if you double click the switch, it'll give you constant on and off. Yeah, so you can still change modes with it like so. Otherwise, momentary on and off with just pressure. Very clicky, very tactile. I think if you hold it, it does some interesting stuff too. Yeah, there we go. Or maybe I'm just doing that. Yeah, I think I'm just holding it on a specific spot. Anyway, works pretty well. No issues with it so far. Feels very sturdy. It actually seems a little more well built than I expected. I wasn't a really big proponent of Olights before I got this thing. I'd only really heard of them based on some stuff that I'd seen in the group, in a few little videos that I'd seen on YouTube. But after actually holding it in your hand and playing with it, it seems pretty solid. It's pretty well built. I would imagine it would survive some drops. This particular mount and the tape switch, we'll see how things go with it. But so far, so good. It's okay, you know. Like I said, don't go fight any wars with it, and you probably will be fine. It'll do what it was intended to do. Other than that, just a few other lights that I have just to show some stuff. Ooh, don't want to knock my camera over. So how does it compare with some other lights? So this is a 762 by 39 AR that I built. This is a stream light. It's the ProTac. What is this? The HLX. This is that big bad 1000 lumen light right here. Pretty long, pretty big, as you can see. Also have the tape switch mounted. This is a good light. For a budget light, stream light is a go-to for a lot of people. They're basically like the budget version of Surefire. But this is a 1000 lumen light. And for example, you can see the shadow from the barrel and the muzzle device. But again, very bright room, very well lit room. And this thing is super bright. This is 1000 lumens right here. Okay. As you can see how it compares to the Olight. Slightly smaller hotspot, but very large area of light that it throws out. Lots of spill. This thing will light an entire area up completely at night. Works very well with the switch. The switch is probably the only weakness about this thing. As you see, I have it zip tied. It comes with these zip ties to put in these two particular locations right here to strap it down. And then you have your constant on and off with this button right here, momentary with the switch. Yeah. So anyway, these switches are about the only weak spots with these budget weapon lights. I mean, they probably work great with just a tail cap with the clicky switches. But these, I mean, they work. They probably work great for home defense and hunting. But these wires, they can get caught on things like body armor, sharp edges, anything that could catch a wire, which is typically why if you have one of these things, you definitely want to find a way to strap them down the best way you can. Because if you have any loose wires hanging out, they can always snag on something when you least expect it. But this is a good budget weapon light, works very well. Streamlight is always a good option. They're not heavy. This one's pretty long just because it's the, I guess, one of the higher end or the brighter models that they make, but works very well for what it was intended to do. So for home defense and hunting, this is a great option, great budget option. Another light that I have that I can compare with these things is one that I have several of now. This is actually the Enforce WMLX. This is the long one, the 800 lumen, mounted on a little AK pistol that I have. This one has no switch. It just has a momentary on and off button, which you can change to constant on and off by flipping a switch. As you can see, constant on and off. I think you have to, double click, and then you have strobe. Ooh, maybe loose. Otherwise, just momentary on and off. See? Which I prefer to leave in a momentary. This is an 800 lumen light. Still pretty bright. Not as bright as the others, but I guess you guys probably can't really tell, right? But very bright. This is a very sturdy light. It's made out of polymer, unlike the others, which are made out of aluminum. Specifically with this light, I think this is a good light. The only weakness with it is the mount. Basically it screws. It has like a tension screw right here, which you have to turn this thing clockwise or counterclockwise to loosen and unloosen. But it's not quick detach. The mount is not the greatest, but I mean, once it's on, it's not really going anywhere. It doesn't have the tightest fit unlike other lights, but again, it works. It works pretty well. That mount doesn't give me the greatest confidence in the world, but still, it is a very good light for the money. These are probably a little cheaper than the other options. I've seen these on Amazon from anywhere between, about $100, $110 to about 140, 150. But yeah, they work very well. They're good lights. I've got probably 3 or 4 of these now on various weapons. They do exactly what they are intended to do, and they're good, solid options for the money. They've survived lots of drops. I've never had one pop off of the mount. It's basically just that this mount it's not the sturdiest. I mean, that's really the only knock against it, but still very good lights, very bright. Um, you can actuate it like this. This is how I do. I'm a lefty anyway. But as you can see, very bright, works very well. Very good light for the money. Let's see what else we got here. Another budget light that I've had for quite a long time now. It's probably a brand most of you guys never heard of. It's really raining outside. Hopefully that's not coming through. Anyway, this is an Army Tech. This is a Canadian brand. They had a pretty solid reputation underground online for quite a while now. This is what is it? The Predator? Yeah, Predator. This one uses 18650 batteries, which is the reason why I got it. Or CR123s, as you can see. It uses either or. This is not as bright as the other ones that I have. Oh, shit. Anyway. Yeah, this one's not as bright as the other ones that I have. This is like a 650 lumen, I believe. As you can see, not nearly as bright as the others, but at night, it still works very well. I think the battery that's been in this thing has been in there for like 3-4 years too, so that might be why it's so dim looking compared to the others. But again, we're in a well-lit room. This one is mounted via M-LOK. Just has momentary on and off or constant on and off with the push of a button. I like running this one with a vertical grip. Just wrap my hand like this. I can actuate it with my knuckle if I want to, but otherwise I just, use my thumb, just however I want. But yeah, this is an older light. This one's about 3-4 years old now. It's very sturdy. This particular brand, again, had a very good reputation. Not sure how they are these days, but this one particularly is rated for, I believe, like a 30 or 40 meter drop. It's rated to survive like high impact drops. It's very shock resistant. Has quite a big head, as you can see, and there's some wear on here. It's been through a little bit. But yeah, this is a good light. I mean, it's all right. I probably wouldn't recommend it over the other brands, but it's a decent light. Nice little alternative, I guess. These are primarily handheld lights, but you can mount them on a weapon, as you can see. Just have a little 30 millimeter light mount. I think that's a 30 millimeter. Anyway, yeah, you just mount it in your mount. It has a spacer in there, so I forget what size it is. Don't hold me to it, but got a little rubber ring right here. You can remove it, but decent little light. I believe this one was about $80 when I got it. Again, it's like a 600 or a 650 lumen, so it's not nearly as bright as the others, but at night for home defense, works great. Works great. Been using it for years for that specific purpose as well. But yeah, back to the Olight. So far, initial impressions are very positive. I've got a few that I can stack it up against, all budget lights, of course, but the Olight being a budget light itself, I don't think you can really go wrong with it so far. Again, no rounds through it just yet. But again, initial impressions are very positive. Feels very solid, feels very well built. We'll see how this mount holds up over time. But the light itself is bright as shit. It is bright as hell. And yeah, if anybody looks directly into that, they're probably not going to be seeing for quite a while, especially in the dark. But yeah, again, very good initial impressions. The magnetic switch, and things remain to be seen how that thing plays out over time. But it's interesting nonetheless. With some of the features and some of the things that this thing can do, it kind of reminds me of how Holosun was when they first hit the scene a few years ago as a relative unknown. I think Olight probably has a pretty decent reputation these days since they've been around for a bit, but we will see how this thing shakes out over time. But again, I'm digging it so far. I will probably buy me some more of these things, especially now that I know Olight runs sales all the time. We'll see how this little magnetic charging dock holds up. Yeah, so long-term review is officially starting today, I guess. But short-term impressions are pretty decent. So I think this seems like the type of light that you guys can buy with relative confidence that it'll probably work pretty well and it'll do exactly what it was intended to do. Anyway, those my thoughts so far. If you guys have any questions or whatever, just ask me or just drop some comments. Peace.